Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Our channel is about looking at some of the cheaper, more budget-friendly models that you can collect on the market. The focus of the whole channel will be collecting mainly racing cars. We may delve into some other things. At the moment, the focus is on 70s Formula 1 cars, sort of between 1968 and 1985 is my area of interest. So this is the first model that we're going to be looking at in review. This model is the Renault RS01. Driven by Jean-Pierre Jaboulet in 1977. This comes from the Pannini Formula 1 collection, which is a great magazine series of models that was released in Europe, South America, and the UK. I think Europe had 250 cars, the UK we got 200. I don't know about South America. I know that there's actually different cars in each one as well, and slight different variations as well, I believe, in paint job. So, yeah, this car is the 1977 Renault RS01. This is the first turbo car to enter Formula 1. It featured a 1.5 litre turbocharged engine, which was different to everybody else who opted for the 3 litre engines, such as the Cosworth DFV, the Ferrari V12, BRM's V12, I believe Alfa Romeo ran a V12, and I think Ligier had a V8. I don't know if Ligier built their V8 or whether that was from somebody like Maserati or something like that, potentially. But anyway, this is the Renault RS01 that we're going to be looking at. These models, so this car, I paid $7.99 for it on eBay bidding with a group of other models. So very good value. You can get this model from other suppliers, but you're probably looking for a lot more money for that. They would be better models, they're probably more detailed, but from a cost point of view, if you're like me and you've got to keep to a budget, then I think this is a really, really good buy. The detail is reasonable. It's not super detailed. For example, these I think they're fuel or oil caps are molded and then painted silver. They're not like single pieces. Like on a Spark, it'd be a bit of photo etch. The roll hoop's actually reasonably delicate in plastic there, and the engine has nice enough details. It's not sort of wired in there. That's just cast in detail, things like that. But do you know what? It represents well enough. It looks correct. The only thing I maybe would have done differently is maybe the radiators. But yeah, it's a pretty good model of a very important part of the Formula One history. Not a successful car, but being the first turbo car, and us knowing what happened for the rest of the 80s, this is an important milestone in Formula One. So the RS01 was a bit of a flop. Calling it a flop is probably a bit harsh, but it wasn't very successful to start with. It failed to make its race debut, which was meant to be at France. It did appear at Silverstone, but I think it DNF'd after a few laps. It got the name of the Yellow Teapot because it whistled and steam quite often came out of it. Self-explanatory, really. But through the year, they did make some important developments to improve the car. Now, Renault were experimenting with turbocharged engines for a little while. From about 74, 75, they had the turbocharged sports cars in the World Sports Car Championship, which would eventually win Le Mans in 1978. So this car's the year before that. The cars after 1978 definitely started to improve. And we know we've all seen the famous footage of Villeneuve and I think it was Arnoux battling it out at Dijon. But yeah, so the turbocharged Renaults did eventually make it to the front, but the RS01 was not the car to do that. They did perform well at high altitude events like High Alarmy because of the turbochargers. So that's where the turbo cars came into their own. Renault were the only ones to go the turbo route in the 3 litre era. They sort of read the rules, saw that 1.5 litre forced induction was allowed under the 3 litre rules, and decided to do something different. And I think the sport was all the better for it. Even now, there are a multitude of great turbo cars that Renault have produced, and now turbochargers are definitely sort of commonplace. It's very rare that you find a naturally aspirated engine in motorsport. So, important part of the jigsaw puzzle of Formula One and motorsport in general. Renault really did like their turbos. one of my favourite cars, the Renault 5 Turbo that came out in the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, and yeah, important part of the Formula 1 collection. But there you go, $7.99, and we've already probably got one of the most important, influential cars in Formula 1's history. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll catch you for another video, and yeah, let me know what you've been up to. Cheers, bye.